Great. Again, my name is Allison Campbell from the Washington State Historical Society, and I'm so grateful today to have with us Kristen Lodge, the Director of Development and Communications, and Ashley Sinner, the Outreach and Public Relations Coordinator, both from the Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center. They have been doing some terrific virtual public programming for all sorts of different audiences. They've been really brave and they've just jumped right in. And so today they're here to just sort of share some do's and don'ts and some things that they've learned and some tools that they've used. Again, this is not something that they knew how to do prior to COVID-19. So we're very appreciative that they're willing to kind of share and be our semi-experts for the day. So I'm not sure who's gonna take it away first, but I will turn it over to the folks from Wenatchee Valley Museum.
Great, thanks, Allison. You're so energetic. This makes this lots of fun. I'll let Ashley speak for herself, but speaking for myself, I feel like totally unequipped to be presenting to you guys today. Ashley and I have been a little bit making it up as we go, watching a lot of online tutorials and learning as we go. My own personal experiences, I worked for the University of Washington on their marketing team doing marketing and fundraising. Then I worked for Providence Child Center for Providence Health and Services doing fundraising and marketing there. And I worked for a short time with a digital marketing company, and I did do some videos. So that's where some of my tricks have come from. And then now I'm at the Wenatchee Valley Museum, and I'm just happy to be there. Ashley, I'll let you introduce yourself and then we can switch to present.
Thank you. Yeah, I also had no experience with video editing prior to a few months ago and have just learned along the way. Formerly, I worked in, I guess, I've always worked in nonprofits. I worked for in Spokane at the Boy Scouts of America. And then I stayed home for a while with my two boys and started working here at the museum almost 3 years ago.
So I'm going to dive in. I'm going to screen share here so you guys can see what we have going on. Good, let me get that out of the way. So this is just our welcome slide. You guys heard who we are, and we're just really eager to hear your questions as we get going. I'm going to jump in and tell you a little bit about the platforms that we're working on. So I primarily produce our videos in Video Shop. Ashley is working in Premiere Pro, and then we do a lot of our graphic design in Canva. And I want to preface this all by saying that we are not graphic designers. We are not video editors. We are nonprofit, marketers, and here just really fulfilling the heart of our other duties as assigned. So we're just learning as we go. But when our museum shut down along with everyone else, I think our immediate thought was, how do we keep people employed? And how do we keep fulfilling our mission? And for us at the Wenatchee Valley Museum, nearly all of our departments and services were turned into videos. So we're trying to share our collections through video spotlights. We're trying to share our makerspace classes through tutorials. We're trying to share our educational field trips through classes and virtual field trips. We're trying to share our exhibits through virtual tours. And really all of that means for everyone to accomplish their mission and achieve our goal, it means that we need to be producing a lot of videos. So to start, we were cranking them out maybe 3 or 4 times a week. We've eased off a little bit. Now I think we've got 2 videos coming out a week, and Ashley and I are like able to breathe a big sigh of relief there. So, so we're gonna talk a little bit about the platform I use. And I use Video Shop. When I was working for the digital marketing company, I was producing just really short, I was a social media manager for 40 different organizations, and I would produce just really short spotlights and teasers. And Video Shop is a cloud-based video editing software. It is super easy. It's drag and drop. It does all the basics of video editing. And the best part is it is free. Now that we're using it more, I have upgraded to a paid version, and really the only difference is that it gets rid of the video shop watermark. So that was very exciting for us. But that paid version is $40 a year, or I think it was $80 for a lifetime subscription. So again, the free version is great, and you get all the options. So this you can use to literally take any clip from your phone and turn it into, you can add music and special effects. You can add video special effects, like you can merge multiple videos. You can do fast and slow motion. You can reverse. You can add stickers and GIFs and filters. You can add text or animated titles. In a video, a lot of times when we're doing a tutorial, I can impose additional videos or photos like close-up style. Some of them are even Ken Burns style panning. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. We can do voice overlays. And then Ashley and I have taken this in addition to what we're able to produce for animated spots in Canva. We're able to produce some videos in, you know, a matter of maybe hours that we're really proud of. We will never be professional video editors, but we're proud to continue to serve our mission and continue to fulfill to the best of our abilities and share the great things that are going on at the Wenatchee Valley Museum. So let me show you guys what we have here. And this, as I said, is a cloud-based software. It is available on iPad and on phone. So what I've done, since Zoom doesn't allow screen sharing on a phone, what I've done here is just taken a video of me running through a very quick video production so that you guys can see it, and I'll walk you through it. And I'm really eager to hear your questions. So I just really encourage you to feel free to interrupt and be a part of this. So to start here, oh, it's going to cover up my options here. So I have Video Shop. What I do is I just select a new video, and you can take you're seeing it back into my own personal phone here, but I've got this upload from our Makerspace tutorial. I select 4 or 5 videos. Yeah.
Sorry, we're still seeing the screen share, not what you're doing right now.
I'm so glad you said that. Thank you, Ashley. So I think when I choose to screen share, I get to choose what there we go.
Thanks, Ashley. I couldn't unmute myself fast enough.
Good. Okay, are you guys seeing that now? It looks like just a screenshot from my phone. Are you able to see that? Yeah, I'm seeing nodding. Yes. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Good. So this is, as I said, just a screenshot from my phone here. It's actually a video from my phone. Video Shop is here. We just click on that, and it allows you to start a new video. You can record or import clips there. I've imported multiple clips into this one, and I've already done the title screen in Canva as an animated screen. It takes just a second to import those videos. You can add multiple clips, and you can record straight from there. And then if at any time you want to add additional things, you can import and overlay at any time. So here we're looking at the beginning. This was the animated slide I made in Canva of the intro and the exit. And what I'm going to do is just split that into 2 videos. That was just a lazy download on my part. And then you can see me click and drag there at the bottom to move that exit slide to the end. Now I'm going to go back to the front, and I'm going to take a look at what we have just by hitting play there. The beginning of the video is this animation that I created, and we can talk a little bit more about that. Clayton is our Makerspace coordinator. He creates these on his phone, and there's always this really fun shot where he clicks it with his thumb and then walks over to the table. So I just take these and I trim that out. Really easy. I trim the beginning and the end. It takes just a sec to import that. And then the other thing we can do here is we can add transitions. So I'm going to actually, I think, trim a few slides here. Here I'm selecting a transition. So this is where you go kind of from one video shot to another, different clips, and you can do all sorts of things. There's fade, flash black, flash white, swipe, spin, shrink, grow, you know, anything you can kind of imagine there. I did a flash white there and then it goes off to the next. You can select all, or you can add a different transition to all of them. The one thing I will say about Video Shop is it doesn't have a ton of sound editing, and that's one thing that Ashley is going to show you later in what she does. A lot of things that we do, we pass back and forth, and the software she uses does have great sound editing options. I'm also able to add some music. So in this one, I thought it would be fun to kind of have some upbeat music going on in the background. So you can listen to a bunch of different tracks, or you can download your own. And those get overlaid. So there at the top of the screen, you can see that now I have the video in multiple clips as well as the music. And each of those can just be selected and moved. I was able to actually trim that to just be at the beginning and then to fade it out. So there's some really fun options there just for some pretty basic tools. Let's see. So the next thing we want to do is resize our video. So one of the things we run into a lot, and unfortunately Clayton is one of our worst offenders. Clayton films everything in a vertical screen. So normally if I were putting this in multiple videos, YouTube and Facebook both want a 16:9 horizontal format. So this isn't ideal, but we're going to work with it because it's what we have. So a lot of times when you've got that wide 16:9, you're going to end up having to inlay a vertical video, and it can be just black and white. It looks like an afterthought. So one of the things you'll see on a lot of these is being able to select that background image, which just blurs the background and makes it look a little more intentional. So that's something you can do in this software, or you can do in what Ashley's going to show you as well. Clayton is teaching us how to make a baking soda and vinegar rocket. So I'm just going to show you a few really quick tools that we have here. If I type in a sticker or a GIF, we can put a little fun animation of a rocket and just make this video a little bit more engaging. Everything in Video Shop is pinch and grab. So resize, move, it's drag and drop. It's just super duper easy. So I'm going to take this little rocket, put it down there in the corner so it's not covering up his cute face. Just keep on moving that. I can decide on a duration for that. So if I want it to be really short and pop up, or if I want it to kind of cover that title screen, I think I chose where he talks about this being the baking soda and vinegar rocket. So I took that whole duration time. Another thing that I thought would be fun is to add Clayton's title. He's our makerspace coordinator and he talks about being with the museum, but it's nice to kind of give him that official. So there's lots of options here. Video Shop actually has some animated titles. I find that they look a little bit newsy, a little less nonprofit-y. So a lot of times I just use this text feature. Of course, I'm going to make lots of spelling errors because there's other people watching, and then I can just put that in. Clayton likes to add a lot of text to his, and I'll show you that in a minute, but there's lots of different ways we can format this, move it to the side, add a background if it's over something busy. And then we can change the timing of that too. So if I lay that in and then I click on the timer button on the bottom, then I can say, oh, I want this to be a couple seconds, or oh, I want this to be for the whole video. So there's lots of options there. The next thing I want to show you, and I'm almost done and then we'll switch it over to Ashley, is I'm going to show you how we can impose pictures and videos. You can see I'm just finishing up with his title there, so it has an appropriate length, talks about making the rocket. In a minute, he's going to tell us all about the supplies that we're going to need. He always has a great slide where we can add a list of supplies. And so I'm going to overlay that for the whole duration where he talks about all the different supplies. So he's going to hold up everything we need, and I'm just going to keep that list there at the bottom for that whole duration. So I've inlaid this photo, or overlaid it on top of the video, which is kind of a cool feature. And he's going to run through all of these supplies. He's going to hold them up, and I'll just change that duration so that it can show up for the whole time. Another fun feature on Video Shop is that you can do a voice overlay. So if you're trying to do maybe a little highlight on an upcoming exhibit or something, you could record yourself saying, "We can't wait to invite you back. We're so looking forward to having you here at the museum," that sort of thing. Video Shop is great because it also shares directly to Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, Dropbox, any of those. But it's mostly just really easy. If you were to download this after this session today, and you were to record yourself doing something, you would have, within an hour or two, you would have a video that you would feel proud of promoting on behalf of your organization. Is it as good as a true videographer, a true video production expert? Well, probably not, but if we could afford that, they'd be here presenting today. So Ashley, I'm going to turn off my screen share and just turn it over
Kristen,
to you.
before you do that,
Yeah.
quickly, there have been some kind of Video Shop specific questions that came up.
Okay.
Can we pause and do some of that now? Move on. So first of all, I think Lynn was able to confirm for us, but Video Shop is also available in Android and all of your various operating systems. I guess that's what they're called.
As far as I know.
Yeah, it looks like it probably is. Eric was wondering if Video Shop requires the video to be vertical, or can you also film things horizontally and edit them in the same way?
Horizontally, it can actually be any number of, it can be custom, or it can be any way that the video is formatted. Unfortunately, this particular staff member likes to film things vertically, so we work with what we got, but I would prefer a 16:9, and I would recommend that when you upload both to Facebook and to YouTube. The good thing about this, and Clayton, is these are really easy uploads to Instagram, so that's the side benefit there. We'll look at it glasses half full.
Yeah, that's our MO these days, right, everyone?
That's right.
And there was a question about producing things in Canva and then getting them into Photoshop. Can you explain a little bit of that process?
I would love to, and in fact, I would even love to show you how easy that is. I'm going to let Ashley talk a little bit more about video editing, and then I'll actually walk you through what that looks like step by step and how quick that can be too.
Perfect. Okay, well, a few more questions. In general, how long are the videos that you've been producing, or what have you found to be a good length?
Good question. Okay, so Facebook recommends that they be longer than 3 minutes, and that's they say that they get more views that way. I also think that's so Facebook can have more data, because then you have to click watch, and then it bumps you out to that video library where they can then feed you additional content. I find that a 2-minute video is an optimum teaser. I would say ideally maybe we'd have a 4 or 5 minute class or tour or tutorial, something that would be short and sweet. But we've also produced our community forum sessions. The museum has been having a lot of online community forums where people can join us to talk about race or talk about other issues that are important to our community right now. And those are full 60-minute sessions that we're able to produce in this format. So as short or as long as you like and as need. I will caution you that the longer the video, the longer it takes to download. And since it is on your device, that might mean up to a half an hour of download time and upload time. It's just lots of fun waiting for that bar to move.
Watching the pot, right?
Right.
There is a question, and I think that, and we maybe will want to wait to touch on this, but I know that a lot of museums, ours included, have been looking at pre-recording maybe a program and then doing a live Q&A, and how that might all work within Zoom and Facebook Live. And I think Len might have some thoughts on that too, not to put her on the spot. So maybe we'll come back to that at the end, because that's more of a kind of like a platform interface sort of topic.
I have actually had a little bit experience doing that with my brother, who works in at the Rockpile Museum in Wyoming. And so I have been behind the scenes on Zoom when he has done pre-recorded stuff during a live event. And so it's just like this, it's like a screen share of the video, just like Kristen did with the Video Shop application. And then you can go back to talking live.
To the live, yeah, definitely. Great. Well, there might be some more questions around that we can come back to. But Ashley, I'll let you kind of take it away, and then keep throwing your questions in the chat, everyone.
You all get to watch me try and stop screen sharing, so that'll be fun. Okay, there we go. Phew.
Right. Before I share my screen, I would like to go back to here somewhere. Talk just briefly about how Kristen really, when we started working from home in mid-March, she immediately started with the filming done on cell phones and using Video Shop to produce them. And I did not have a lot to do with them other than writing descriptions for when we post them. It took me a few weeks, maybe a month even, before one day it just struck me. I have access to the Adobe Creative Cloud, and they probably have a video software through that I have access to. And I had been feeling really bad that these 3 or 4 videos a week were really consuming a lot of Kristen's time, and no one else.
That's fine. I just stayed up till midnight and woke up at 4 a.m. every morning. No, it's fine.
So what I did at that point, and I will say that we have our Adobe Creative Cloud subscription through TechSoup, which is it provides access to donations and discounts for software, hardware, and other services to nonprofit organizations, libraries, and charity organizations too. So we have had that mostly because we have done some designing of larger things in Illustrator and InDesign, and our exhibits curator, she uses InDesign. And I have no experience prior to this working in those platforms either, but I have just kind of muddled my way through when I needed to use them. So I used it very limitedly until recently. And so now I use Premiere Pro. And I will screen share if I can figure out how to do it. I'm not sure it's working.
Ashley, if you like, we could switch to Canva and then come back, but we'll give you just a sec to see if it wants to come up.
It was coming up earlier, but now oh, here, it's just hidden because I couldn't find it. So
I'm guessing other people sympathize that our Wi-Fi belongs in a museum. It's nice and slow.
So Adobe Premiere Pro is very intimidating, I will say, when you first open it, and I had no idea what I was doing. So before I open it, I'll explain that everything I've learned through watching YouTube videos, and that is my sole experience. I have watched some videos multiple times. I have watched this one about sound editing to take out like a specific sound, like a dog bark or a phone ringing, and I still cannot do it. So that is up to the professionals, and that's not me. But I have muddled my way through a little bit to help out and share the workload with Kristen so she doesn't have to do all of it. So I will talk, I'll actually run through assembling a video. We produce Curator's Corner every Friday, and we show something in our collection, and it's short videos, usually less than 3 minutes, but sometimes more. And I'll show you basics of sound editing and adding the transitions and exports. You can do all the same things. Like if you did have a vertical photo, there is a way to add the blurred background, which you see all the time. News organizations and Facebook and stuff, you see that. It really helps elevate that orientation if that's all you have. But we do try to film from a horizontal perspective. And then I will show you the settings I use to export, because there are so many options and it is hard to remember what you did the last time, but after you do it so much, then I watched a YouTube video to find out what options I should select for exporting. So that's what I use now. So, so I will show you, here is, oh wait, before we go here, I was gonna show you the Creative Cloud. So this is the Creative Cloud desktop, and it has, here I use Illustrator, Premiere Pro. These other options, they come up when you're doing very specific things in Premiere Pro for sound editing and other things. They will come up and you can add those to it.
Ashley, I think you're still sharing the screen that has the Adobe Premiere Pro welcome slide.
Okay. Let me see if I can.
I'm feeling good reinforcement here that I did the same thing.
Yeah.
When I selected share screen, it gave me multiple options. So if you go back to that one, you might be able to choose the.
Okay, I'm trying to, oh here, maybe here.
Well, actually figuring that out, Kristen, can I just, a quick question, is one of the big differences, besides the cost, that with Video Shop, you can only edit on your phone or tablet, and with Premiere Pro, you can actually edit on a desktop?
Yes, so I think that's probably one of the main like pros and cons of Video Shop is I think it's really designed for Instagrammers and YouTubers. So it's really designed for you to take video on your phone, edit it, produce something beautiful, and post it all from the same platform. It is more difficult, say, when we were producing our annual awards and I was working on a 40-minute video in fine detail with many, many slides, and all I wanted it was on a big screen. I would have paid big money to put that on a big screen, but no, it is on my phone, and that is one of the main differences.
And out of curiosity, if your phone battery like dies while you're sort of
has to be plugged in.
It has to be plugged in, yeah.
Well, at least for mine.
Going the hard way, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Okay, Ashley, I think we're all set. We can see your screen
So
now.
this is what the Creative Cloud looks like. They have lots of different things that I don't even install and use, but it's nice that we have this. So when you open Premiere Pro, this is what comes up. And so I'm going to start a new, oh wait, now I realize I'm probably not sharing this again. So now I'm having to do a new share. Hold on. I'll get the hang of it before we're done. So now can you see Premiere Pro?
Yes, looks great.
Okay, so I'm going to start a new project.
Prior to this session, I have to admit that Ashley and I both said, what videos do we need to produce that we can do on the spot? What work can we do in real time?
And so I named it, and I'm going to just start a new project. Oh. No. So apparently I already have one titled that. Oh, big. This is a video about some signs from a store that a historical store that used to be in Wenatchee as part of our collection. So I just named it after that. It takes a minute to come up here, and I have a folder with all my elements pre-saved. I don't always do this, but for you're special, and you got to some preparation before this. So I'm just going to select all of my elements and drag them over to my library. Import media, there we go. Sometimes you have to be on the right tab in order for it to decide to work for you. All right. So now that those have come up, it's also a lot of drag and drop. I have done our title screen in Canva prior to this, so I'm going to unhighlight all of these things and drag them individually over. Oh, I don't know why it's doing that. Oh, nope, it just put everything in at once. So I'm gonna have to undo that and reorganize since they were all highlighted, sorry. I don't have to do this, it'll just be easier for me to assemble it in order. If you all weren't watching, I could have just muddled my way through it. And what, so this, it's gonna change my sequence settings because I had other things like this sound in there. If you have like some vertical images and other horizontal things mixed together, then you have to decide what your frame is going to be, and it should always be that 16:9 that is used on YouTube and Facebook and those platforms. So that's what this is. So since I named these, it's really easy to know what order to put them in. When you move stuff over, if you wanted something on top of another thing, and you'll see you can have multiple videos and sound overlays on top of each other depending on where you drag it. And if you put it not quite touching where you can see this little triangle, there will be a gap. So you want to just make sure that you do that. This either zooms out or in. It's just a sidebar so that when you're viewing it, if you push play, zooming out is fine. But if you want to do a specific cut or edit, then you have to get closer to it. Then start. Okay, and this one's a really quick, easy video. Sometimes we have multiple, like dozens, dozens of clips that we have to piece together. So it just depends on how long it is and what you're working with. While I'm doing this, I will say that it is important not to text a video or email it when you are sharing or going back and forth editing or when you're ready to upload it, because those that will just decrease the quality of your video. And so we use OneDrive to share between us as we're editing, and then we download straight from there to put on YouTube or Facebook.
So for example, Ashley, also if you recorded something on your phone, you now need to get that raw footage onto your desktop. You wouldn't want to do that via email. You would want to do that via some kind of Dropbox or Google Drive or shared drive.
Yeah. That's correct. Yes, we upload straight to our cloud sharing options. From my phone, I will say I have to have a great internet connection either with my phone or with my with the desktop. At home, I have a bit of trouble sometimes uploading, especially those long videos can take hours and hours for me. And if I lose my internet connection in the middle of it, it will completely stop it and I will have to restart it. So you will have to make sure that you have a great connection. Otherwise, you're going to be frustrated. So we can push play and watch where we're at. And there's a bit of a lag here. I think my internet is not super awesome right at the moment. But because our building, our museum has big spaces, there's a lot of echo. So one thing that has really helped is sound editing. So I want to just do that first. With sound editing, you can go up here to audio. And I obviously, because she's talking, will use the dialogue option. In here, I select loudness and auto match. There's a lot of trial and error that goes into figuring out what settings work for you. And if you do too much sound editing to get rid of background noise, it will sound kind of tinny. So I've discovered that through through my own trial and error. But you see what works best for you. All the YouTube videos I watch say less is more. And in my videos, I usually do auto match. That's the loudness so that the sound doesn't go up and down a lot. And repair, I use reduce noise, and I put this at 7.5. And then I sometimes do dehum at 7.1, and that's all I do. If you wanted to not do sound, if you didn't want to use the audio, some videos, if it's just a promo and we're just going to put music over it, then I would select this down here, mute. And if there's someone really quiet talking, you can increase the loudness to what will work for your video. So I have done this. I'm hoping you can hear, if I push play, the difference. There's sometimes a lag, especially when in this platform, when you're editing. Once you download it, everything comes together, but sometimes it's really slow, and it might just be because my laptop is not high enough processor to make it work as well as it does on my desktop. Anyways, I'm not sure. You can also somewhere in the audio options, you can just listen to the sound rather than watching it, and that's usually better when you're doing sound editing. For some reason, oh, here it is. You just push. You can. So that's that, but then if we go to this one.
We can't hear it.
Oh, you can't hear it. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Well, that's too bad. I was hoping you could hear it, but since she's in the hallway in this first clip, it's very loud and echoey, and that's why we want to do the sound editing. It happens again at the end when she's back in the hallway. When she's in this room, it's less so, but it just depends on where you're filming what happens. But I tend to do the same audio edits depending on the clips, but for hers, I usually do the same settings for all of them, and you can just select all the clips you want, make them all the same if that's what you need to do for yours. So I am gonna do the same 7.5 setting. And
Can I interrupt you with a quick question, Ashley? Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're fine.
Have you, just while you're on this essential editing kind of sound editing window, have you all recorded anything outside? And your settings would probably be different if you were recording outside.
Yes, outside can be challenging because of sounds like dog barks and cars driving by and wind. These features do help also. I would say the reduced noise works a lot with the wind. It will not make it go away completely. You can play around with these sliders to see what works for you. If someone has a lot of S sound when they talk, you can use this DS to reduce that if you need to. But for inside the museum, these are what works for this particular building. Our exhibit areas are really quite big and echoey too, so that works well for those.
Can I ask another question?
Yeah.
While I obsess over whether I have a lot of S's when I speak,
No.
do you guys usually just use the microphone on your devices, or do you use an external microphone?
We just use the microphone on our devices. I don't know, Kristen, have you ever used an external?
Yes, a couple of us have external microphones that we hook up. I will say a phone device isn't the best sound quality, nor is it probably the best video quality. But we're working with all of our partners across the museum wide who are sending us content. So we work with what we've got. And for the most part, it's just off our phones.
Thanks.
And with Premiere Pro, and if you watch YouTube videos, there are ways to take out specific sounds. Like I said, the dog barks. I worked very hard on one video to take out an outside dog barking, and I was not able to accomplish the task. So I have given up on extra barks. If I am filming myself and there's noise like my kids at home, I will just stop the video and I'll re-record that portion. If there's just a little bit of background noise, I let people hear my kids in my videos.
Done Premiere Pro before, so this is the portion of the video you've already done before. Right.
So here, if you go to effects controls, these are a lot of the other things you can add, like there's also graphics here. I'm not going to show that because we don't have enough time to do all the same things that Kristen did. On my desktop, I find the effects like transitions here under effects controls. For some reason on my laptop, I have to go to editing. Or assembly maybe. There we go. And go to effects over here in this little arrow. It will probably look a little bit different based on what toolboxes that you have, but there are video transitions and audio transitions here. One thing I'm gonna add in my assembly, in my project, is this trombone sound at the beginning. I'm gonna add it to our cover slide. So I'm just gonna drag it over, and I had found this thing, so in our cover we'll hear a trombone. And then what I'm gonna do is add the effect to fade it. And that's an audio transition. And I'm just gonna do like a constant, an exponential fade. So it fades out before she talks. Once you add a transition, let's see, for video transitions, I like to do dissolves. I do an additive dissolve and you just drag it in between. And it says there's insufficient media, so it will replay. That's just because the main slide doesn't have a lot of motion. It's just a cover slide. And then in between, I do these cross dissolves. To edit those, you just go in and you click here and you can go to effects. And it auto saves, so that's good when you're working on a project. You can change, like if it starts at the cut or ends at the cut. Mine always center at the cut, so just make sure that's selected. And then you can make them like 30 seconds long or 10 seconds long, whatever works for you. You can do that with the sound too, the duration of the fade. You can change it to however you want. Unfortunately, I can't like play this so that you can see it, but I'm going to go to export so you know what settings I use to export. So over here in File, you come down to Export and go up to Media. And here you select H.264. And sometimes that will just come up automatically. And other times you have to select it. And here I always do YouTube 1080 because that full HD, that's what we use. And the only other thing that I have found be super useful as far as my settings go in here is just to click on render at maximum depth and use maximum render quality. There is another option if you want really good quality, to change this VBR 1 pass to a 2 pass. It just takes longer to export. It doesn't change the megabytes of the film, but if you change this target bit rate, it will change that. So I usually keep it at 16. If it's a really large, long video, I might change that to lower it, but I don't never increase it just because the quality doesn't improve that much. I'm not a professional. This works well for me. And then when you are done making those settings, just go to export, and that will take some time, and it will export it into your download files, and you can change the name before you do it. I didn't, but you can find it. Am I still on?
Yeah.
You guys are, my internet is cutting out, I think.
Here. We can see you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Ashley. You can definitely get a good sense of like the capabilities of the app versus a much more robust kind of editing system. And I will just share this anecdote. I once worked with a colleague who a lot of you may know, Lane Sample at Fort Nisqually, and she was sort of our tech guru. But the only thing she did that we didn't do was she was just brave enough to like click that button and see what happens, right? You can always undo it. So we've talked a lot about just kind of this is the moment to be brave and try new things. And I think, Ashley, clearly you have embraced that and and dug around, and it's a lot of just trial and error. So I really appreciate that. There are a couple of questions and I know we want to kind of talk about Canva because we have been talking about Canva for months in these programs, but nobody has actually showed us how to use it. So maybe while we're transitioning over to that, would one of you be able to share a little bit just about what your experience has been with actual engagement with these videos on the various platforms where you've been sharing them? There's some questions about just, is this worth all the time and effort? Is your audience really connecting with these things?
I would say yes. I know, Kristen, you're muted, but yes, we were nervous going into this because we didn't know what kind of quality we would be able to produce. And so I know from the start, at least I was nervous, like, oh no, what's gonna happen? But I have been really proud of everything that we've produced and we've learned along the way. So if you go to our YouTube channel and check out our videos, you can go to some at the beginning where we weren't doing sound editing and we weren't using as many graphics or transitions, and you will see how we have learned and developed over time. And I just think it's just really awesome that we live in a time where we can figure out how to do this.
I just pulled engagement numbers for the board so I can speak directly to engagement. I will say kind of anecdotally that I think our makerspace tutorials and our educational kind of classes and art classes are a little bit hit and miss. We did do those in cooperation with one of our affiliates with another organization, and so it felt really mission fulfilling. So we were this organization had grant funding to give out to supplies to local school kids who could come and pick them up during lunch pickup. So we were able to produce really awesome artist classes and tutorials and things that they could get hands-on with at home. So that felt really good. Our engagement was lower on those, even though they felt really good for our mission. Our Curators Corner, we're seeing maybe between 250 or 750 reach on our Facebook. As you guys know, reach is who is seeing the video, whether they're viewing or not. Then they measure 1, 3, and 10-second views as well as full views. And those are of course going to be lower. We really like to look at those reach numbers because we like to know that people are seeing that we're fulfilling our mission and that we're working hard even while we're home. What we're finding the most success in is our community forums. We're having hour-long chats where we bring experts in to talk about topics that are important to our community. And then we do produce those as videos that we share afterwards after the live session has ended. Those are seeing upwards of 10 and 10 to 12,000 people reached within a few hours after the video is done, even if there's maybe only 50 or 100 people who join us in real time. But those are the numbers that we're seeing. I think it would be interesting as we move forward kind of more intentionally into the fall to look at the frequency that we produce them, and which specifically, and release dates and that sort of thing. Ashley and I have been working a little bit on trial by error or fire, however you want to look at it.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that data with us. Do you want to kind of hop over to Canva, and we're probably going to run over a few minutes, so please stay with us if you can, and as long as Kristen and Ashley have a few more minutes. And then any questions that we don't get to in the chat, I will make sure to follow up with these folks and get answers for you. Also, people are sharing wonderful resources in the chat. Somebody's kind of looking for a wish list of video hardware to invest in. So please, anything that you're buying that's working well for you, share that in the chat, and I'll make sure to send that all out in the follow-up as well. Okay, oh, I'm so excited. I used Canva 10 times today. It's my favorite.
So I will caution you that once you get good at Canva, people are going to know, and they're going to ask you to do everything. It's like constant with the PTSA. I'm producing art prints for my family. You never know what you're going to turn into. Again, I will caution you, I am not a graphic designer. I am making it up as I go. So, so we'll just jump in here. What we're looking at right now is the Canva dashboard. This shows both design templates as well as our design. So if you scroll down, you can see some of the things that we've been producing lately. I'm going to show you how you can create something from scratch using some of the templates. Canva is, and it sounds like you guys have been talking about this, but a web-based, cloud-based graphic design tool for non-designers. There are more sophisticated tools out there that have more robust options if you are a designer and if you have these inherent talents, which I was not born with. It is a drag and drop interface. There's access to hundreds or thousands of design templates and tools and stock photography, stickers, graphics, that sort of thing that you can add in to make things look really polished. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you that there's a number of different templates that you can choose from. And what's fun is you can really just take any of these templates and customize them to your organization. Since we've talked a little bit about animated presentations, I'm going to go ahead and create one of those for us. So you can see that there's tons of templates that you can use. We can try and find one that we think maybe fits with our organization or is friendly and fun. Let's go with this little guy here. So the design library has all sets of preset specs, pixels, inches, that sort of thing. So you could say, I want to create a Facebook social post, and it would be optimized. All the specs would be in there, optimized for a Facebook social post. You could say, I want to create a PowerPoint presentation, and it would already know the exact sizing and everything would be pre-optimized. Or you can create anything from scratch. We've actually created like the large banner that sits out in front of the museum. In this format, and we're just able to use this resize button. You can either select pixels, inches, other options there, or you can choose from pre-designed specs. But like I said, this is the 16:9 format for the animated presentations. So we have coming up, let's just like make this up as we go here. We have coming up a partnership, an upcoming event with Sustainable Wenatchee. We're going to do kind of a take on our environmental film series. And we're going to do a, let's see, it is environmental. Let me make sure I have lots of misspellings here. Film series, and it is the story of plastic. So in this, we're going to have a movie that people can preview, and then we're going to have a panel of experts that we're going to do a Zoom Q&A with, and it'll also be live. So let's say we're just promoting this as an upcoming event, or we could even use it as the background slide for our video that we produce later. So pink's probably not our color. Maybe a nice sea blue. You can see that you've got lots of different options here. The sky's the limit. It's coming up on August 18th. So you can use these templates, or you can add in anything that you want to. I'm going to go ahead and stick with the text that they had here. So as you can see, everything is drag and drop, and it layers. So sometimes that's great, and sometimes that's tricky. The layer here, like on 18, it looks like it's going to be hard for me to select. What's really fun about this is just in a minute here, we'll be able to produce something that we feel like is in line with our organization. Canva is free. There are paid versions with slightly more options. The paid versions are $12.95 a month or $120 a year. The main drawback to Canva, I would say, that I find in our day-to-day is that I'm not able to create transparent outlines. So let's say I want to take this pup in a more sophisticated design software, I would be able to draw an outline around him and create a transparent background. I'm not able to do that here. I like to just embrace and accept those limitations, knowing that they're there. There's tons of great stock things. So if I wanted to search in elements for plastic, I could maybe put a fun graphic there that I could change the color of, or I can search in their photo library. There's a vast photo library here. Some are paid, most are free, and you can select free. Let's say we think this one fits with the theme. I'm just going to go ahead and drag it and drop into that. I can also create animations. Ashley and I talked about those a little bit using some of these elements. If I select lines and then pre-select filters for animated, already it's just going to give me a really quick fun options that I think I could maybe make this pop. So maybe I want to underline something that we're doing. Maybe it's the date. I can just drag that in. Maybe I want to add a really fun effect to the picture. I can make that nice and big. I can bring that over here to the picture. Maybe I think that's a little bit much. I'm going to position it. I'm going to move it backward. There's lots of layers here. Let's see if we did that right. We'll keep moving that backward until we get it where we want. Oop. There we go. Maybe we think that's a bit much, so we're going to make it a little transparent. That'll make it a little more subtle. One option you have then is in how you download. So if I want to create this as an animated graphic for a slide for something that we're producing, I can animate it in a number of different ways. You can see that there's lots of options for fade, block, pan, rise, tumble, and it kind of whatever you think fits well with your theme. Everything is drag and drop. If you think any of these elements are too much, you can just remove and delete them, or you can start entirely from scratch by removing everything. When you download, I actually used this present option for the first time today. I created the background slides for our presentation today. I hit present and I was actually just able to go straight into a presenter view. So you guys couldn't see all the messy back end of all the trial and error I had trying to get it created. So that was fun, something I'd never done before. There's lots and lots of options for download. If you're going to produce it for video, you can either choose GIF or MP4. I will say I've been using Canva for about 5, maybe 6 years now, and the beta versions of these animations are improving all the time. But what you feel like you can rely on today may be different tomorrow, and just embrace that change because it'll be for good. But what you think you've learned today might be different tomorrow. So especially as it comes to these beta versions. So if I were going to download that as an MP4, I can choose which pages I want. I only worked on that front page, so then I could download that. Same, you can choose PNG, JPEG, PDF. So PDF presentations, we've produced our annual report in this format. We've done PDF print. We've done like large scale banners, like I've said, 6-8 foot banners outside front of the museum all over town. We've done flyers that we've printed. One design limitation with Canva I've found is that there's not a great grid. So you can see as I'm creating this that I'm kind of eyeballing it. You can get it to line up a little bit by showing you some options, but there's no inherent grid in the back end. So sometimes we produce things that are a little bit wonky. So we're learning as we go. Are there questions on Canva that I can answer specifically? Because I know there was a lot of interest in this, or Ashley, anything you think I missed?
It is, there are some, when you convert from digital Canva to print, there are some adjustments that you need to make for the printers as far as the crop and bleed. So you might download it from here, but upload it into something else. I often do it into the Adobe Illustrator, just so that I can make any of those changes that the printer needs. There is crop and bleed through here. It's just not meant for, I guess it's just not as effective as other platforms for print because it's a digital platform.
However, having said that, we still use it, we still produce it, yeah, in our non-designer, wearing our non-designer hats.
Kristen, can you quickly show everybody where they would go to upload, say, their logo or something into Canva so they can drop that into design?
Absolutely. So that's really easy. I actually put it on our desktop for this purpose. So if I just drag in our logo, it's there. You can also see that I've already pre-uploaded that. So there's lots of options. These would be things that we've been working with. You can see the plastic images and that sort of thing. This is one of our, so there's a huge library that we can use that's available to you. You can also customize in those colors. And we should do it here. You can add a palette so you can put in your RGB for your brand and that sort of thing, which is really important, and fun options.
Great. And then just really quickly, can you show us one more time how, let's imagine that you wanted to turn this upcoming event into a banner, how you do that? You go up to resize and can you actually put in the dimensions and it sort of? Yeah,
absolutely. So you can choose from some of these preset options, or you can go ahead and plug in your own here. I would, if it were a banner, it'd be in inches. A lot of times the pixels are more for digital format options. So if we're, doing a YouTube video, or we've used this a lot for our website, they'll give you website specs in pixels and that sort of thing. So you can resize it in any size you want. It'll copy and resize. It'll maintain this original one that we can rename up here, whatever we want to rename it here, but then it'll make a copy for you. So then you could be working on it in banner size.
That's great. I will say, having zero design skills, it's a joke that I can't ever design anything that looks nice. Canva has been a total lifesaver, and I have found it very intuitive. And so there doesn't have to be quite so much trial and error. It's pretty easy to use.
Agreed. If you spend a couple hours fumbling your way around it, you'll be able to produce some pretty amazing things.
Yeah, quickly too, right? I mean, it's once you learn the ins and outs, you can move through it pretty quickly. Well, I think I got to most of the questions. I will do a careful look of the chat once we are finished here to see if there's anything I missed and can kind of follow up with. But otherwise, I will plan to send an email out hopefully before the end of the day or maybe tomorrow with all of those links, with a link to the recording of this session in case you want to share it with anybody. And then please, let's keep the conversation going. So as you go out into the world and attempt to do some of these things and you run into problems, just shoot me an email and I can ping Kristen and Ashley and see if they have any suggestions for you, or put it out on our Facebook outreach group. You're always welcome to just drop questions into that discussion feed. And that's a nice way to kind of crowdsource feedback from the almost 300 plus folks who are in that group who are all just figuring it out just like you. So thank you so much, Ashley and Kristen, for walking us through this. It's been really valuable. I've actually learned a whole lot. And again, just be brave, everyone, and give it a try. Push those buttons and see what happens. You can always hit Control-Z and back out of it or whatever you got to do. So thank you all so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. And stay tuned for more information about upcoming programs from me. All right. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley and Kristen.